Most people know him as a basketball legend, 7'1", 325 pounds, 4 championship rings, a guy who dominated the paint like no one before him. But before we get into his story, did you know that only about 1% of the people watching this are actually subscribed? That means out of every 10,000 viewers, only 100 hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying this so far, take 1 second to subscribe. It's completely free, and it helps this channel more than you can imagine. All right, back to Shaq. See, the real story of Shaquille O'Neal isn't what he did on the court, it's what he did off it. Because while most athletes go broke within 5 years of retirement, Shaq did something different. He built an empire. And in 2026, that empire is reportedly worth somewhere between $400 and $500 million. Either way, it's a number most NBA players will never see in their lifetime. And the way he got there, you're not gonna believe it. Let's start with the obvious, the NBA. Over 19 seasons, Shaq earned just under $290 million in basketball contracts alone. His peak came during the 2004 and 5 season with the Miami Heat, when he pulled in over $27 million in a single year. That kind of money would set most men up for life. But Shaq didn't stop there. He was just getting warmed up. Now here's where it gets interesting. In his rookie year, something happened that completely changed his mindset. Shaq got his first big check, reportedly around $1 million, and within about 30 minutes, he went on a spending spree. He bought a Mercedes for himself, a Mercedes for his mother, a Mercedes for his father. Then, the bank manager called him in, and he broke the news. Shaq was overdrawn. He'd forgotten about one small detail: taxes. That moment terrified him, and it led him to people like Jeff Bezos, who reportedly told him to invest in things that change people's lives. That became Shaq's whole philosophy. Invest in what you use. Invest in what regular people use, because if you use it, other people probably do too. And that one rule made him richer than basketball ever could. Take Google. Back in 1999, Shaq was pulled into a small investment round for a company most people hadn't even heard of yet. He put in around $250,000. When Google went public, that investment exploded. Reports suggest that if he held through the stock splits, it eventually grew to somewhere around $16 million. Shaq himself has called it one of the best decisions he ever made. And he'll tell you he got lucky. He didn't even fully understand what Google was at the time. Then came vitamin water. Shaq was one of the early celebrity investors in a small drink company called Glasso. He loved the product. He drank it every day. He told his friends about it. And in 2007, Coca-Cola bought the company for $4.1 billion. The exact figure Shaq walked away with has never been publicly confirmed, but reports suggest it was in the tens of millions, possibly over 100 million. Either way, it was a massive payday for drinking a beverage he already liked. Now, most people would take that money and disappear into retirement. Shaq did the opposite. He started buying businesses, not endorsing them, not promoting them, owning them. At one point, he owned 155 Five Guys burger franchises. Think about that, 155. He made millions from that investment before eventually selling them back. He also owned 40 24-hour fitness gyms across the country. He owned 150 car washes, 17 Auntie Anne's pretzel stores, a Krispy Kreme location in Atlanta that opened with a line stretching around the block, and he wasn't done. Then there was Papa John's. When the company got hit with a massive scandal in 2018, Shaq swept in. In 2019, he joined the board of directors. He invested around $840,000 into a 30% stake in 9 Atlanta franchises. And as part of a bigger deal with the company, he picked up stock and an endorsement package worth over $8 million. Within a couple years, Papa John's stock had nearly tripled. Shaq wasn't just a face in a commercial, he was part owner. He was on the board. Then there's Ring. You know Ring, the little doorbell camera that records your porch. When the company was still a tiny startup, the founder went on Shark Tank looking for investors. He got rejected. Every single shark passed. They didn't believe in it, but Shaq did. He invested early. And when Amazon bought Ring in 2018 for around $1 billion, Shaq got another massive payday. He saw things other people missed. He backed products he actually used. And every single time it paid off. But here's the twist. For every investment Shaq made, there was one he regretted, and one name haunts him more than any other: Starbucks. Years ago, Howard Schultz approached Shaq about investing in his coffee chain. Specifically, Schultz wanted to open Starbucks locations in black communities, and Shaq turned him down. He said publicly that he didn't believe the concept would work. It's a decision that still haunts him because Magic Johnson took that deal instead and ended up opening over 100 locations. Starbucks became a $100 billion company. If Shaq had said yes, that one investment alone could have made him one of the richest athletes in history. To this day, he calls it his biggest regret. But let's talk about how he spends the money. Because for a man worth nearly $500 million, Shaq has the lifestyle of a billionaire. Start with the house, or should I say, houses. His famous main mansion sat in Windermere, Florida, just outside Orlando. The property was around 31,000 square feet, 12 bedrooms, an indoor basketball court with his jersey hanging from the rafters, a massive showroom garage that could fit over 17 cars, a swimming pool with a built-in waterfall, a soundproof movie theater. He put the property on the market back in 2018 for $28 million. When it didn't sell right away, he kept cutting the price. 22 million, then 19, until finally in October of 2021, he sold it for 11 million. For Shaq, it was pocket change. Then there's his Atlanta area estate in McDonough, Georgia, where he spent a lot of his post-retirement years. That's also where DJ Diesel lives. Yes, DJ Diesel. Shaq is a professional DJ who headlines festivals like Tomorrowland, EDC Las Vegas, and Lost Lands. He's had residencies at venues in Las Vegas. He doesn't need the money. He does it because he loves it. Now the cars, because Shaq's garage is something else entirely. He once owned a custom Ferrari F355 Spider, a car that normally wouldn't even fit him. So Shaq reportedly spent around $350,000 modifying it. He took the roof off, he moved the fuel tank, he added custom Superman logo seats. It's one of the only Ferraris in the world butchered and rebuilt for a 7'1" man. He's owned Bentleys, stretched Lamborghini Gallardos, Cadillac Escalades modified to fit him, custom Chevy vans, a convertible Mercedes with suicide doors, multiple Buicks, mostly because he had a long-time Buick endorsement deal. If you're wondering how many cars he's owned over the years, it's somewhere in the dozens. He said on podcasts that he doesn't even know the exact number anymore. That's how rich you have to be to lose track of your own garage. But here's the part no one talks about. Shaq doesn't just spend on himself. There's a famous story from 2021 where he walked into a Zales jewelry store just outside Atlanta. He saw a young man who was there trying to buy an engagement ring, and Shaq quietly walked up to the counter and paid it off, just like that. He's done similar things again and again, paying for random families' groceries, covering funeral costs for strangers, furnishing entire homes for families in need. He doesn't tweet about it. He doesn't post it on Instagram. He just does it. His foundation, the Shaquille O'Neal Foundation, donates millions every year to underprivileged communities. He pays for college scholarships. He funds after-school programs. Now let's talk endorsements, because this is where Shaq is in a league of his own. He's the face of the General Insurance. You've seen the commercials. He endorses Icy Hot, Go LD Bond, Buick, Carnival Cruise Line, Papa John's, Pepsi, and dozens of smaller brands you've probably never even noticed him in. In 2023, he took it a step further. He became the president of Reebok Basketball after the brand was acquired by Authentic Brands Group. That gave him a piece of Reebok itself. His total endorsement income per year is reportedly over $60 million every single year without playing a game. He's also on television, or he was, on TNT's Inside the NBA, alongside Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson. Starting in the 2025-2026 season, that show moved over to ESPN, and Shaq signed a new long-term deal reportedly worth around $15 million per year. He's been doing that show since 2011. That's 15 years of cracking jokes, arguing with Chuck, and getting paid handsomely for it. So let's add it all up. Career earnings from basketball, business investments, real estate, endorsements, television, DJ shows, speaking gigs, franchise ownership. It comes out to a total net worth reportedly between $400 and $500 million in 2026. Some outlets push it even higher, but if you ask Shaq, he'll tell you the money is only part of the story. He still drives himself to most places. He still takes pictures with every fan who asks. He still shops at Walmart. He still orders off the dollar menu. When asked why, his answer is always the same. He says if his mother ever caught him acting like a celebrity, she would slap the taste out of his mouth. That's the thing about Shaquille O'Neal. He came from nothing. When he made it to the NBA, he didn't forget where he came from. He bought his mother a house, he paid his family's bills, he took care of everyone around him. And today, while most of his peers are broke or fighting over old royalty checks or selling their championship rings just to pay rent, Shaq is sitting on a fortune that continues to grow every single year. New investments, new business ventures, and a stated dream of eventually owning an NBA team again. He was a minority owner of the Sacramento Kings for nearly a decade, and he's made it clear he wants back in. Because when all is said and done, Shaquille O'Neal isn't just a basketball player. He's not just a businessman. He's not just an investor. He's a brand that will keep earning long after he's gone. From a kid who was so tall he couldn't fit through doorways, to a man who couldn't fit into normal cars, to an empire that stretches across fast food chains, fitness gyms, tech startups, television studios, and music festivals. Shaq has done it all. And somehow, he's still just getting started.